everyone, my name is Amber, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about my June TBR. So I got into a little bit of a reading slump in May, towards the end, because I was going through some stuff. In short, we're doing some home renovations and they're not going exactly to plan and it's really stressing me out. So I read quite a bit in the beginning of the month, not so much at the end. And I'm worried that June is going to be similar because the home renovations are going on until probably the second weekend of June, we think. But if something goes wrong again, then I worry that I'm going to stress out even more. I'm a bit concerned about how June is going to go. Nevertheless, I have chosen a massive TBR for June because I have a lot of books that I want to read. First of all, I need to get down my physical TBR because that's my goal for this year. I also need to start working on some of the books I said that I was going to read this year because I made a list right at the beginning of the year of series I want to start, continue, finish, books I definitely want to read because I've been saying that I want to read them for ages. So I made a lot of lists and made a lot of commitments and I've not been doing too well with them so far. So June has to be good, otherwise I will be a liar. Anyway, without further ado, I've been rambling on for long enough. Let me talk about the books I want to read in June. So I have a couple of book club books that I want to read. The first one being for Space Sirens, which is a book club that I sort of run with a bunch of my friends. I'm not doing a very good job running it because I've been having a tough time. The book that we're going to be reading in June is She Who Became the Sun. I don't really know much about this book. I believe it's a fantasy novel but set in the real world, and I think it's set in China, which is good because I haven't read many books set in actual China. I've read a few books inspired by China and Chinese history, but I've not read many that are actually set there, and that's something I would like to do. So this is historical fantasy. It says here that China lies under harsh Mongol rule. The main character becomes an orphan. She also loses her brother, and then the main character steals his identity and enters a monastery. So I'm looking forward to reading this. I think it's going to be incredible. I have really good vibes about this one, and as far as I'm aware, all of my friends who have read it so far have loved it. So fingers crossed I love it too. I think that I will. Also for book club, I've got two books that I want to read, probably both as audiobooks, and those are for the book community read books. I can't remember if the live shows are in June or July. I hope it's July, but it may well be June because I think I'm behind. Those two books are The Gates of Europe and Read Famine. I have read Famine now as an audiobook, but I can't find Gates of Europe anywhere in the UK, which is really quite frustrating. The only edition I could find is a really rubbish Penguin edition with the tiny font, and I really don't like those books. So I'm considering pretending to be American and signing up for Scribd, the US version, and then getting the book that way. Maybe that will work, I don't know. Either way, I want to read both of these books, whether or not the live show is this month or next. I'll just go back and watch the live show after I've finished if I don't finish in time. So those are the three book club books that I want to read in June. I'm not being too ambitious with book clubs. I'm also not being too ambitious with readathons. In case you're wondering where my whateverathon TBR is and whatnot, I'm not officially signing up for any because I'm worried I'm going to stress myself out. So I've curated this TBR and I will see how it fits in with whateverathon prompts. I was considering doing vlogs and stuff, but I don't have the energy. I'll continue doing my weekly vlogs, and if I decide to take part in whateverathon like for 1 week during June, then I will. So yeah, these next TBR books don't really have a theme or anything. They're just ones that I'm sort of in the mood for, or ones that I've been saying that I need to read for ages. So since we're on a non-fiction trend, I might as well tell you about this one. This is Sugar in the Blood, which is by Andrea Stewart. She is a mixed race woman, I believe, who traces her family history all the way back. It says here in the early 1600s, Andrea Stewart's earliest known ancestors set sail from England and settled in Barbados, where he fell by chance into the lucrative life of a sugar plantation owner. In this unique personal history, Andrea Stewart follows the thread of her own family's involvement with sugar through successive generations, telling a story of insatiable greed, forbidden love, abuse and liberation. I'm really into genealogy. I think I tell you this in every other video of mine, so that's why this one really appealed to me, and also it's a bit of a different story than just seeing English people trace their roots back to France or something. So I'm really looking forward to reading Andrea's story. I think it will be really, really interesting. I also want to read For the Wolf, which is a fantasy book. It's a retelling of Red Riding Hood. I want to read this one because the sequel is coming out very soon. I found this in the charity shop, by the way, and I'm so lucky. Yeah, the sequel is coming out soon. I need to recap this one for recap tins because a few people have requested it, so I'm gonna do that. It says here that the main character is the only second daughter born in centuries. The first daughter is for the throne, the second daughter is for the wolf. So the main character has one purpose, which is to be sacrificed to the wolf in the wood in order to save her kingdom. The legends lie the wolf is a man, not a monster. Her magic is a calling and not a curse. Everyone seems to have loved this one, so I'm looking forward to reading it. I don't usually love fairy tale retellings, to be honest. They're not really my go-to, but I don't hate them either, so maybe I'll enjoy this one. I also want to read Rachel Vincent's retelling, which released around the same time as this. I think it's called Red Wolf, but I can't remember. I'll put the cover here. But maybe I can pair these two up in a reading vlog in the next couple of weeks. Although I do need to get a move on with this one because the sequel is coming out, I think, on the 7th of June, so very, very soon. I need to hurry up. Then we have a book that I got from the library. I requested this one and I still haven't read it because I'm behind. That is Real Easy by Marie Rutkowski. This is set in the 90s. It's like crime mystery fiction, I think. The main character is a stripper in the US. Something happens in the club, I think. I don't really want to read too much about it because it is a crime book and I'm worried that the blurb will spoil me. I've heard really good things about this author's writing, not that I've read anything by her, although I've definitely got one of her books on my shelf from years ago. This one just really caught my fancy and it's a bit of a different sort of setting and main characters to what I normally read in crime or thrillers. So yeah, I'm willing to give this one a go. I hope it's good. Then we have The Weight of the Stars by Kay Angkram. This one is YA contemporary. The main character's parents, or just her mother, are up in space. It says here that Ryan dreams of travelling across the stars. A career in space isn't an option for a girl who lives in a trailer park on the wrong side of town. One day she meets Alexandria, whose mother is an astronaut who volunteered for a one-way trip to the edge of the solar system. Every night without fail, Alexandria waits to catch radio signals from her mother. Now it's up to Ryan to lift her onto the roof day after day until the silence between them grows into friendship and eventually something more. Shannon Maguire said that this book is gentle, gracious and kind. I think it sounds adorable. Really looking forward to reading it. I'm really grateful that my friend gave this to me. My friend isn't on BookTube, so otherwise I would have linked her below. Next we have Queen of Coin and Whispers. Again, no idea what this one's about. I've just realised there's a lot of sapphic titles on my TBR. Perfect for Pride Month. This was a complete accident, but go me. This one is an adult fantasy book and the two main female characters are into each other and that's all I know. I follow the author on Twitter, so I really should know more about what her book is about. It sounds very good and I really like her tweets. Do I even need to know what the plot of this one is about? I don't think I do. I also picked up Wolf by Wolf, which I've had on my shelf for years. This is YA historical, kind of like a thriller as well, I think. From what I can tell, it's set in Germany post World War II and it's alternate history and the Nazis have won the war. The main character is part of the resistance and she is being sent to kill Hitler and she needs to get close enough to do that. I think it's a story about her conning her way to become close to the Nazis and then kill Hitler. So yeah, I'm expecting this one to be really fast paced. I haven't read a book set in Germany this year yet, so this will be a good one for that. This one was really, really hyped when it first came out a few years ago. It was in 2015 and I haven't heard much about it since, or much about this author actually. She's written a few other things, but nothing has really been all that big. This does have a sequel, so I will be recapping it for recap tins. I'm so sorry about this lighting. It's because I've got this massive window that takes up the entire wall and there's not really much I can do about it. Anyway, I'm looking forward to reading this one, recapping it, and then seeing if I want to read the sequel. I also want to read The Versions of Us. I picked this one up this year in a secondhand bookshop, so I want to read it because I'm trying to read books soon or close to the time that I acquire them, because otherwise I lose interest because I'm a really, really bad reader. So I think this is like a sliding doors sort of story. It says here that Eva and Jim are 19, students at Cambridge when their paths first cross in 1958. Jim is walking across a lane when a woman approaching him on a bicycle swerves to avoid a dog. What happens next will determine the rest of their lives. I'm really into parallel universe stories and this is what this one is, so I'm dying to read it. I hope it's going to be really good. The reviews on Goodreads, or the ratings, don't seem to be very high, but I'm not too bothered. I might enjoy this. I also want to pick up The Valiant, which is historical fiction. This is set in ancient Rome and the main character is a gladiator. It says here that the main character is the daughter of a proud Celtic king. Caesar's army is invaded. She got captured by the Romans and sold to an elite training school for female gladiators, owned by none other than Julius Caesar. I'm really into ancient Rome. As you know, I really enjoy learning about the history, and female gladiators were a thing, but they're often not talked about. So I'm wondering if this book is kind of going to address that, or if it's just going to be a really fun YA trilogy. Either way, I'm looking forward to reading it. I've been meaning to read it for years, so I'm very excited to finally get my hands on it, as though I haven't had it sat on my shelf for 3 years now. And finally, the last physical book that I want to show you, I do have a couple of NetGalley books, is Gideon the Ninth, which my friend Ro bought for me for my birthday 2 years ago now, I think. I've been meaning to read this for the longest time. It's on a couple of my lists, I think, that I want to read this, of books that I want to read this year. I don't know why I haven't yet. I think it's intimidating because everyone at the beginning, when this was first released, said that it is lesbian necromancers in space. And then everyone afterwards who had actually read the book said that it wasn't that, actually, and we're all wrong. So I don't actually know what this book is about. I know that the next books follow Harrow and Nona, so I think it switches between main characters, the series I mean. But this first one is about Gideon. I really want to read some books set in space. Next month in July I'm planning on reading quite a bit of sci-fi, I think. For this month, Gideon is going to be that one for me. I don't really know what to expect from this. I don't know if I'm going to give it 5 stars or if I'm just going to absolutely hate it, but we're going to find out together, and it's going to be fun, I hope. So yeah, lots of lesbians in this TBR, completely accidentally. And then as for my NetGalley books, which I'm trying so hard to whittle down, I'm just going to really quickly mention the titles. I'm going to read The Retreat, which is by the author of The Sanatorium, which is a book that I did enjoy, so I'm looking forward to reading this one. I'm going to read The Cove, which has similar vibes. I think these are both thrillers. And then I'm going to read The Long Weekend by Gillian Macmillan, which again is a thriller with sort of isolated mystery killing vibes. I wanted to mix up this TBR a bit and add some thrillers because I don't actually own many thrillers on my physical TBR. It's all ebook format or from the library. So yeah, that's my ambitious June TBR. I feel like all of my TBRs are very ambitious, so I need to find another descriptive word to label my TBRs with, perhaps like unachievable. I do have lots of other books that I might read, of course, that I might swap in or out of this one. This is just an idea of what I could be reading. So in terms of my June plans, like I said, the home renovations are going to be going on at least until the middle of the month. I really hope they're over sooner, but I don't know. We're also going away with a couple of friends, during which I'm not going to be doing much reading, let's be honest. And then at the end of the month, we have a like feast day sort of thing, which is a small village summer celebration. And it's my mum's birthday, so there's a lot of things going on in June, but I think I can probably get most of this reading done around those plans, especially because I have a long weekend for the Jubilee. The days off are what I'm actually excited for. I don't really care if the Queen has reigned for however long it is now. Let me know what you think of my TBR. If there are any of these that you would particularly recommend to me, let me know. If you want me to do singular reviews on any of these, I absolutely can. I haven't done many of those recently on my channel because I've been mostly focusing on reading vlogs, but I definitely could do some solo reviews if you want me to. Let me know what you'll be reading in June in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Bye!